Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a foundation review and wear test. I am going to be trying out the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Foundation. I've seen this get a lot of hype on the internet. I wanted to test it out for myself. So in today's video, I will be applying this foundation nice up close and personal while I talk about the details, then take you throughout my day. So a 4-hour check-in outside in natural daylight, inserting in some swatches, comparing this shade to some other shades in my collection, then coming back at the end of my day, 8-10 hours later, and just giving my overall first impression thoughts on how this foundation wears. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around, but with all that, I'm gonna pull you in closer and we're gonna get started. All right, let's get to applying this foundation. Here is what the bottle looks like. Personally, for me, I really love simple, easy, unbreakable packaging. So this retails for $37. It comes in 29 shades, and I picked up the shade 220N, which is Custard. That's the shade that I found best matches me in the other Huda foundations. So that's what I decided to go with. Here it is on the back of my hand. It's a little bit runny, a little bit liquidy, but not too bad. Now, on the website, it does say it's best applied with the brush, but it's clear that it was kind of just trying to add on as many Huda Beauty products as possible. So I'm going to do a brush on one side, sponge on the other. I do prefer a brush. And then as far as my wear tests go, if you're new here, I don't apply any kind of primer when doing my first impression wear test. I just want to see what the foundation can do on its own. So I only have skincare down, sunscreen, and that's it. Now, as far as my skin type goes, I do have normal leaning dry skin. No really major skin concerns. I'll get breakouts like, here and there. And then I would say I'm mostly concerned just about my enlarged pores here. So I am hoping that this is blurring. Now, the claims of this foundation, right? Let's talk about the details while I'm working here. Shade matches is pretty good. This claims it's supposed to be a medium buildable coverage. And it doesn't say the type of finish. It says that it's supposed to be an airbrushed or a filter-free finish, but not necessarily. It doesn't say if it's glowy, dewy, matte, natural, anything like that. And I did also notice it didn't say what type of skin it was for, what skin type. So, I mean, I can only speak for myself. If you have a different skin type than me, let us know how this foundation wore for you if you tried it. Now, right now, going back to the foundation, I would say it's medium coverage. It's not covering up as much redness on my nose as maybe I anticipated. It's not emphasizing my pores, but I wouldn't say right now it's blurring them out. I'm not personally going to build this up though, because I prefer a medium coverage and I don't want too heavy of a foundation and have that affect my final thoughts at the end of the day. If it's too heavy cakey, I kind of want to go in still as much as how I would wear this foundation normally on day to day. So I'm going to go in with my sponge now. Just going to apply this. Now, a call out from the website as well is that this is supposed to be fragrance-free as well as alcohol-free. I do think that Huda Beauty called that out because it's something that has deterred people from a lot of Huda Beauty products in the past. And I will say I don't think it has a scent. Their products used to be very, very heavily scented. So it is nice to see that Huda is finally kind of listening to their customers and giving us something that's a little bit less fragrance, because it was really potent back when they first started. I will agree that it's lightweight, just like they say. Doesn't feel like I'm really putting anything on the skin, especially for the coverage. That's what I like to see for the coverage. And overall, I'm actually really liking it. I'd say it's like a natural matte finish. That's how I would categorize it. And I think personally, the sponge side is looking more blurred on my pores here than the brush side. So I'm just going to take the very little bit that I have on the back of my hand, just kind of go over my whole face now that we've seen both sides. There was no brush marks, which is a major pro to me because that's typically why I prefer a sponge. Is sometimes with foundations, I'll just get like really streaky marks with the brush. And I find that no matter what, with a sponge, I don't get that. So here is what we're working with. It's supposed to give a 12-hour wear time, so I'm assuming it's going to be pretty transfer proof. It definitely leans more matte. So if you don't like a matte finish, it's not ultra matte where it looks just dry, but I would say if you have very, very dry skin, I would be a little bit nervous unless you went with a really hydrating primer. Not sure, but if you don't like really matte foundations, I don't think you'd like this, or if your skin just sucks out the moisture. For me, this is perfect. I like it a lot, actually. It's shiny, like still on the high points of my face where I would naturally highlight, but the rest looks like really set down. It also, of course, says on the website, like I said, to really go with their entire system. So the Easy Blur primer, the brush, and then use the powder for the most airbrush finish. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go finish the rest of my makeup off camera. I'll let you know when I get back what I decided to powder, what I didn't decide to powder. I'm really leaning towards not powdering though, because I want to just see what this foundation can do on its own. And if it doesn't wear well, or if it does wear well, I won't know if it's the foundation or the powder. So let me go do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back to just give you my first impression thoughts so far. Rest of my makeup is on. Everything that I'm wearing is always listed in the description box below, but what's pertinent for the foundation wear test is I did decide to powder under my eyes, and I used my Huda Beauty powder, but only under my eyes. So I did not use powder on the rest of my face, and I also didn't use setting spray. I really struggled with that for a little bit because I feel like I could really benefit from a setting spray. But again, for my first impression, I just want to see what the foundation can do. I did use powder products like powder, bronzer, blush, highlight. So that kind of set my face. It does feel set down. It does still look very blurry. But I feel like a setting spray may have just helped it just like a tiny bit. It's like 0.5 millimeter too matte for me. I would like it to be a little bit more natural. I do prefer this though, rather than it being ultra glowy. We'll see. Maybe in a couple hours, my natural oils will start to come through. It'll look a lot better. It's looking very, very nice right now. It's looking blurring. It's looking airbrushed. I will give it that. So I'm excited to see how this wears, to see if it just starts to settle into my pores, if it starts to break apart. It does say it has 12-hour wear, so we're going to test that. I usually save my foundation review days for like my chore days. So I'm going to go do all my chores. I need to wash my makeup brushes. I might go help my mom plant some trees. She's planting like 52 trees today. I should probably go help her out and not let a 60-year-old woman do that on her own. I just haven't decided yet because I really don't want to. But I may work up some motivation to go do that. So that'll also kind of give this foundation a little bit of a test here. But yeah, I will see you all in about 4 hours outside in natural daylight.
All right, here we are outside in natural daylight. The sun is coming in and out with the clouds, but that's okay. It's still cold. Some sun is better than no sun. So here's what the foundation's looking like. It looks pretty good, although right now I really wish I could powder. I'm just looking a little bit more shiny than maybe I would want halfway through the day, but that's just a personal preference. Some people really like the glowy look. It's not overly oily, it's just definitely glowy right now. Pores still look blurred. I mean, you can see my texture. I'm not wearing a filter or anything like that, or I don't have a filter, so you can see my skin looks like skin, but for looking like skin, I think it looks pretty decent. 4 hours in, I'm pretty happy with it. Just wishing I could powder, which is not a big complaint. Like, I can get by powdering throughout the day and doing some touch-ups. It's when the foundation breaks apart or when it starts to wear down that isn't really great, right? Halfway through the day, because then you have to kind of redo your makeup. Touching up's a little bit more extensive, whereas applying a little bit of powder, blotting, not that big of a deal to me. I'm liking the coverage. I'm liking how it looks. So yeah, we're gonna keep going from here. I'm gonna continue on with my chores. I haven't really done much yet. Still haven't cleaned my makeup brushes. I did help my mom plant some trees though, so just in case you wanted an update on that, I did help her out for like 20 minutes. That's it, but I helped her out nonetheless. Anyways, I am now going to insert in some swatches, and I will see you all at the end of the night.
It's the end of the night. I have dinner on the stove, so I'm going to keep this brief, but the foundation's held up pretty well. The longevity of like my cheek products has kind of faded. I wouldn't say that the foundation's broken up, which is great. It's worn down naturally, if anything. I am very shiny though. That's typical for me. I do get pretty oily throughout the day, so I'm not upset with that, especially with no touch-ups. I have to say it looks pretty decent. My pores don't look any more enlarged, like it's not settling into my fine lines or my pores. I think this is a decent wear for a foundation where I use no primer, no powder, no touch-ups. I'm pretty happy with this. I just can't help but compare it to the Maybelline Superstay, the Lumi Matte that just came out. I did a full review wear test on that one. I'll link it up above, but I can't get that one out of my head. They're very, very similar, but I think I still like the Maybelline more. Stay tuned because I will test both of those foundations out, this one and the Maybelline more, and then come back and do a speed review and give you my final thoughts, because I do need to try this with a powder, with a primer, etc. But something's telling me like the Maybelline kind of wins, maybe because it's less expensive. Maybe that's what is doing it. I do just want to touch up with you on camera right now and see how it looks with that. So I'm going to go in with my sponge. It has no product, and I'm just going to tap on my face and see if it picks up the excess oils. And then on the other side of my face, I'm going to go in with a powder. I typically, when I touch up, really try to just use the sponge to pick up the excess oils, to not be adding on more and more layers of product. It's just how I prefer my makeup to look. I don't mind it looking worn in. I'd rather it look like that than look super heavy cakey. But that definitely helped out a lot just in the shininess. So I'm gonna go in with my powder. I did wash my brushes, so I'm gonna have to use a brush that I don't normally use, and I'm just gonna go in and lightly dust this. See how that does. Because maybe you prefer powder over blotting. Some people I know really, really don't love the sponge as much as I do. So we'll see how that looks. And it's kind of looking pretty similar. This is just going to mattify it a little bit more. This is looking more natural, more worn in, more like a touch-up. This really actually just refreshed it a lot. Both sides look really great though. So with touch-ups, I think this foundation will do much, much better. I am excited to wear this again. Like sometimes when a foundation really goes downhill and I know I have to talk about it again in a speed review, I'm just not excited to give it the time and effort that it needs to figure it out. This one I'm excited to try with a primer, to try with powder, just try different ways to see how I like it the best. But the coverage is really, really good on this. I do really like it. It's like a 9 out of a 10, but the super stay is just 10 out of 10. I just loved that one so much more on application. So that's where my head's at right now for this foundation. I'd love to know what you think. This has been out for a while, so if you already have this foundation, you like it, you love it, you hate it, let us know down below, as well as your skin type, so we can all help each other out. I will say though, I think that this was a little bit of a slept on foundation. I think that a lot more people should be talking about this. I don't hear it talked about as much as I thought I would. Huda products tend to go really, really viral. They're very good with their social media, and I feel like this one kind of got swept under the rug, and I think it's a great product. I don't know if my favorite foundation just yet. My favorite so far from Huda has been the stick foundation, the faux filter, but that might be in the running for the favorite. It is really nice. I feel like I don't sound excited enough. It's not that. I'm just tiny bit hesitant of like full on recommending like run out, go buy this foundation. There's something just a little bit holding me back, but I do think this is one of the better foundations that I've tried recently, and I'm very happy. Anyways, that just kind of wraps up my first impression thoughts on this foundation. Again, let me know what you thought if you already picked it up or if it's on your wish list. I hope the swatches were helpful, that you're having a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.